Okay, so I'm working on this 2006 Chrysler Town & Country, and we're going to be replacing these headlights on here. As you can see, the one over on the driver's side has been hit. Recently had replaced the fender over there, and the one over on the passenger side there's got some really deep cracks and pitting and everything. I'll give you a closer look at that in just a minute, but definitely wanted to give you a good look at this here, and we're going to see a great improvement. Okay, here's a look at this side. This one has just been wrecked, and it was someone attempted to do a patch job on it, and this one over here is not much better. And I say, yes, you could replace the one, but if you can see this crack and deep cracks, and it's going to be very hard to get this, and there's people that can fix these, but this is very deeply pitted and cracked, and we'll talk about the price of these later, but they're really not that bad for the pair. Okay, so here's the headlights I got, and so just got the pair of them. We're going to be replacing both. It comes with the headlight bulbs, but we'll be using the turn signal from the other, but it does already come with the headlight bulbs pre-installed. Okay, so here's a close-up look, and you can see you've got the mounting clips for your bolts. And these are really nice. They look a lot like the OEM. There is your adjusting screw, and you may have to adjust the height. You won't know until dark, and you just turn that, basically get it up close to a wall or on the road or whatever, and adjust it where you need it. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get started removing the old headlights here now. Okay, so the first thing I've done is just disconnected the negative so we don't have any electrical mishaps or anything like that. No worries with that. And so we're just going to come over here. We've got 1, 2, 3 screws. You can either use a 8mm or 5/16 and remove it, or you can get on here with a flat screwdriver. These are the only tools that you're going to need. You get on there with the flat, and you can take it out of there that way just as easy. So we're going to go ahead and get started removing these. Okay, so I'm just going to be using my little 8mm. See, there's the screw. And these are just some pretty short little screws. And I will say that this has to be one of the easiest headlights that I've seen to remove. Some of these headlights, the way they put the bolts, you've got to remove your bumper and all sorts of things, and it's a whole ordeal. So there's those 3 little bolts there. Okay, at this point we're just going to pull this out. All we do is pull it straight out here. Now we're going to have a couple of connections here at the back. I'm going to be using that new plug, so we're going to need to get this removed. Now this one here, you just give that a twist and it'll come right off of there, just like a quarter of a turn. Now this one here, I'm probably going to need to get in here with a little pick tool to pull up on these tabs here. If you can see those tabs that go in there, they have to be pulled up, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Now while we're at it, we've got a part of our clip here that is attached. We'll need to pull that. You can see that it clips right here. So just go ahead and give that a pull up. I'm going to get a pick tool to remove that. Okay, so you can see this has a tab. I'm just going in here with a little pick tool and lifting up on those both. And while I'm doing that, I'll give this a little bit of a tug. So you can do one or both at the same time. And there we go. So that's all it is. It just has those that go down there and clip, and you have to just lift up on both of those to get that to pull off of there. That's all there is to that. And there's that plug. So now we'll go ahead and get our other headlight over here. Okay, so we got our new headlight. We're just going to take and push that right back onto there. We'll take our little snap there and we'll pop that right back into that place for the wire. And then the only thing we got left is it just goes on there a certain way. You just turn it like a little bit of a turn, just like that, and that locks that in place. You can't get any easier. So we'll just go ahead at this point and we can just slide this right back up into here. We want to make sure, make sure this is above this. That kind of gives us something to hold to. And then so we can lift up on this here, and it'll pull those up a little bit where we can get our screw started there. Okay, so like I said, you got to pick up on this a little bit. If you can see that, you can see your threaded holes there. If you pick up, you'll be able to get that started. And then we'll take our that just helps pull it on up there a little bit. Otherwise, as short as the screw is, you're going to have trouble getting it to go at first. So there's that one. And don't tighten any of them up until you get them all started, because it'll make it more difficult with the alignment process. Now you can see this oval hole right here. This is where you're going to go down with a Phillips when you have to adjust this later. I'll give you a better look at that in a minute. But all we need to do is just work on snugging these up now. Okay, so we got all those secured down. There's nothing to it. Our wires are connected. Of course, we'll test this out. You can look down in there. You're going to go in there with that Phillips, and it's just as easy as that. You're going to adjust your headlights. You know, a lot of times I'll use like a wall or something and just adjust the height, and then you can, of course, you know, take it for a test drive. You don't want to get them up too high, you know, where they're blinding people, but you want to get them where you can see properly and that your dims and your brights are adjusted right. So we got this side all locked down. We're going to go ahead and just get started on the other side here now. Okay, now this side over here is broken, so all we got to do is just pull this out of here. Okay, and surprisingly enough, with how this thing looks, it was actually still working, believe it or not. So this looks like we got a problem with this blinker over here. I'm going to have to take a look at that. Okay, so all it was is it was just twisted around because it was loose and it was just oriented the wrong way, but it was working. So we got that out of there. I went ahead and took pick tool and got this off, and so we're going to go ahead and just set this aside and get our new one over here. Okay, I wanted to show you this real quick in case you're needing to change your bulbs out. With this collar here, all you do is just twist it one way like that, and this just lifts right out of there, and it just goes in there like one way. It lines up with those notches like that. You can see the way those are. You just line it up with your notches, and it'll just twist and lock right back down in there once you get it lined up right anyway. Okay, I wanted to touch back on this second because if you're not paying attention you could do this wrong. This collar just twists and it's like nothing special. It just have these notches. You line them up with the notches that are there and you just twist that just like so. So that's pretty simple. The light itself actually has, if you can see down here on this part right here, there's actually notches on this as well. So there's 3 of those. If you look in here at this light, you can see those 3 notches in that plastic right there. So you need to line those notches on that light up with that or it won't push in there all the way. So that's what I was doing wrong there a second ago. So you have to look, and once you kind of turn that the right way, which is pretty much straight up and down at 12 o'clock, but if you don't get that lined up, it won't allow you to twist lock that right there. But I just wanted to touch on that a second. Okay, so I'm just getting ready to put my bulbs back in. Make sure your seal is on. And you just line this up where it needs to go here. You got different size notches on it. You can see that the biggest one right there is going to go in the biggest notch on this. And then you just lock it into place. Okay, and with that locked, we'll go ahead and just snap our main connector back on here for our headlight. And nothing to that one. Give it a push down. We'll put our little clip back onto there, and then we can just push this right back up in. Remember, this goes over the top, and that also helps you to pull it up for your screws. Okay, so you definitely have to lift this up, even if you have to come in from behind and under here to get the screws started, because it wants to set down, and the screws can't be really long because they'll start puncturing into the housing. So you just pull it up the best you can and get them all kind of started loosely before you go to tightening any of them down. But it's really quite simple. I popped this little wire, there's like a black clip. I just like unclipped it because it was like right over the top of that screw there. I'm just going to pop it back down into that. Now, it's not a big deal. So that one's all fastened down, the lights are all hooked up, so now we're going to go ahead and test these lights out. Okay, see, I got the headlights on. Go ahead and turn the blinker on, one of the blinkers. Go ahead and do the blinker. Okay, and do the other side. All right, see, our blinkers are working. Our running lights and park lights, everything's working on here, so that's all good. Okay, so here's a before look at the headlights. Okay, and here's the after. We got them both on. You can see how much nicer that it makes the vehicle look. So it already previously got a fender on here, and I mean, the difference that this makes is just really amazing. I'll give you a closer up look here. Okay, so here's a closer up look. So other than having a little bit of hood damage, it looks pretty good. It's the only thing sticking out at this point. So I know where I could get me another hood, but really not. It's really not bad enough. If you check out some of my earlier videos, you'll see before I got the fender on there, really made a big difference. Really makes an amazing difference on the looks of a vehicle, these headlights. Alright, that's going to do it on replacing these headlights. The price on these, I believe, was $70 with tax. They were only like $65 for the pair. I got these from eBay. I'll leave a link. Said I haven't tried them out at night, but I'll leave an update on that in the comments. I expect it's going to be way better than they were. But anyways, so not very expensive, and you see how easy it was to replace these lights. It would take you probably 15 minutes to do this, and not very expensive. $70 with tax, and you can have brand new headlights on the front of your van. So as I said, I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. As always, I invite you to subscribe, and thank you for watching.